Welcome once again to Mighty Morpin Power Rangers, the podcast where we watch an episode of the televisual series Mighty Morpin Power Rangers, and subsequently to our viewing of it, we discuss it. I'm Matt.
I'm Michael.
Michael is here again, and we're joined by Jen, who's the first time guest of the show.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Now, we have a tradition on the show for new guests. We would like you to tell us, if you have one, about your first experience with Power Rangers. When did it first come into your life?
Wow. Okay. So it's probably been a very long time. But Power Rangers was one of my go-to shows after school all the time. Between that, Alex, Mack, and Captain Planet, they were my go-to.
Oh, nostalgia wave. Alex Mack. Yes.
Absolute favourite. So it would have played a big role in every single afternoon. I don't know if I have like a one-off memory when it started, but all I know is that I wanted to be the pink Power Ranger because she had a skirt no one else did, and I felt like she was more important than everyone else.
Yeah, that's good reasoning.
And I think... I don't know if this is a made-up memory in my head, but didn't she have the hots for, like, the white/green Ranger that I can't quite remember which colour he's supposed to be? Maybe that's the point. That's why. And maybe he started my love affair for guys with long hair, so that's all I remember.
I think he started a lot of people's love affairs for guys with long hair.
Yeah.
Not just ladies, I think. I think there's probably a lot of dudes that grew up thinking that was a good choice. Like,
yes.
I should grow long hair like Tommy. That was cool.
And I think it's kind of come back again now.
Yeah.
People are going through the Tommy phase again now, which is
as well they
fine
should.
by me.
Cool. All right. So you were watching during the green White Ranger era then, I guess?
Yeah. That's part of me doesn't know how many memories are legitimate memories and how many are ones that I've made up myself during the
Those
experience.
Those are probably the better ones.
But it was definitely around, if there's other phases, it was definitely around the white-green Power Ranger.
All right, cool. Well, we'll be watching slightly earlier than that.
Okay.
But, yeah.
There's no Green Ranger at the moment.
There's not.
He lost his powers in a terrible candle accident.
Didn't he do that a lot? And
Yeah.
have to go away for a while, and then he just kind of came back for special occasions?
Yep, more or less.
Yeah, you got down, basically.
So, have you seen any Power Rangers since then?
Oh, I don't think I have.
Okay.
I'm excited.
All right. Well, before we go watch the episode, I should tell you that you can find us at www.rangerdangerpodcast.com. You can send us an interweb mail straight to our interweb mailbox at rangerdangerpodcast@gmail.com. We also are on the Twitters, which is at RangerDcast. No, you're shaking your head.
I'm shaking your head because you keep calling it the Twitters.
Oh,
it makes,
I thought I was
sound
incorrect.
like we're 50-year-old white men.
We're also on Facebook. We're also on Stitcher. We're also on iTunes. Did I fit something?
YouTube.
YouTube. We are on YouTubes. We have multiple tubes.
Surely they have tubes.
They have tubes.
It's not us tubes.
Yeah. Oh, while we're here, Jen, before we go watch the episode, you're doing something with your life.
Oh.
that you should tell us and our listeners about. I'm something specific here. I'm not just broadly asking about your life.
Yeah.
But you can talk about that as well.
Sure. Well, at the moment, I'm working on a project called Kaleido. And it's an extension of a major project I worked on at uni. And it's a resource for creative students of all kinds that need some kind of resource to help them get into the industry. So it's a publication that'll feature people, projects, and places that facilitate creativity and collaboration, also with submissions and inspiring articles. And there's also going to be a launch event.
Oh, I like events.
Yeah, it's going to be like a live version of the publication, so you'll actually get to meet all of the featured artists and performers.
That sounds great.
Yeah, so I'm doing a crowdfunding campaign at the moment to get people on board to prepay for their issue 1 and launch tickets, and also some cool sponsorship opportunities.
Cool. All right, so if I was a person who wasn't a bad person and wanted to support art in this way, where would I go to do that?
Okay, the best place at the moment would be to go to the Possible campaign, which is www.pozi.be/Kaleido, which is KALEIDO.
Right.
In case you didn't get that, there'll be a link in the show notes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, yeah, we would love if you could go and support Jen in her efforts to make the world a better place. certainly doing more for the world than us watching Power Rangers.
Hey, we're touching lives.
That's it.
Hey, if you guys want to sponsor and get a package of Impossible and get Ranger Danger out there, be my guest.
Look at that. we may have to look into that option. Cool. All right, well, let's go and watch that episode. It was entitled Something Fishy,
Yep.
I believe.
It'll be a fish monster, won't it?
It's almost certainly going to be a fish monster, which I don't like fish. Fish are weird.
You're a vegetarian.
I know.
Isn't fish literally all you've got?
No, I don't eat fish.
Or do you not eat fish?
No.
Okay.
Fish are animals, Michael.
Are you sure? With those big little eyes?
Fish is a vegetable, right?
I'm not saying that they're good animals. they do fall in that bucket, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Good
I
job.
learned something today.
You did.
All right, so we're going to go watch that.
Yep.
And I'll be back in a sec.
See you soon, guys. And we're back. We just watched Something Fishy.
You sure did.
So how was your first experience with Power Rangers again, Jen?
Oh, so many memories.
I heard like physical sounds of nostalgia coming from you. You seem to be overwhelmed a bit by it.
Like, so many characters that I just completely forgotten about.
Bulk and Skull.
Yeah. Not that I could understand a word that he was saying. I feel like I used to be able to understand, and now I just had no idea what he was talking about. But, I don't know, I guess I just remembered stuff about the main characters, like the actual Rangers, and I just totally forgot about the amazing villains.
Yeah, I think that the stuff on the moon now, especially, is getting very like quick, and it's hard to tell what's going on because they rush through it. I guess because they're recycling old footage now. Like there's that shot where Goldar's pointing at the camera and yelling.
Yep.
I think we've seen that
We've seen it a
times.
couple of times, yeah.
So yeah, we're getting a lot of rehashed stuff. Yeah, I get. It wasn't a bad one. Shall we take it from the top?
Yeah, let's go.
All right.
So, look, my first note is just fuck Bulk and Skull. I'm tired of them. They need something new as part of their shtick.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
What do you mean? Now they're fishermen. That's something new.
they won't be fishermen next week,
No,
though.
they won't. No, that's true.
I was wondering that. I'm like, are they always like this? I don't even remember.
Well, they're not always fishermen. They are always huge pains in the ass.
Yep.
Yeah.
And painfully unfunny. That remains consistent. So we find out that Jason and Trini and Zach are going to go scuba diving.
Yep.
Whereas Billy and Kimberly are not, because Billy does not like fish.
Billy's afraid of fish.
Yeah.
Much like you, Matt.
I'm not afraid of fish. I don't like.
Sure.
Okay. Well, look, I haven't had a spell cast on me by an evil moon witch to convince me that they're terrifying.
That's true.
That could yet happen. And so that they're talking about how they're going to go and do their respective things when Bulk and Skull turn up and declare that there won't be any fish to see while scuba diving because they're going to catch them all. Which, as far as like vaguely evil schemes that they have, is pretty.
I would like to point out that what we later see is that Bulk and Skull are not fishing where they're scuba diving.
No.
They're in two completely different places.
Yeah. But we do find out in this scene that Jason is a trained and licensed diving instructor, rather.
Yeah, well,
Look,
sometimes you just got
Quite an
stuff
impressive
on.
feat for a high school student.
Especially one as thick as Jason.
Jesus
It's been
Christ.
routinely demonstrated that he's a bit of an idiot. I wouldn't want him in charge of like my air tanks and shit like that.
I mean, you are very harsh on Jason.
That's true. For good reason, though. God, tell me that he's not a thick
He's
idiot.
bland, but I don't think he's a moron.
I don't know. He's on the border.
Anyway,
Yes.
so, yeah, they're just... It turns out that learning about scuba safety is not fun, even when it's a Power Ranger telling you to check your gauges and...
No, so you were talking about the scene where they're on the beach and they're sitting up. I found it really interesting that there's a shot of Zach putting on his like tank and building himself up, and as the camera sort of pans down to his crutch, Trini says, "I can't wait to get down there." It's like, oh, that's a bad combination of shot and dialogue.
Oh, dear.
Do you think it's them holding hands in the water that we see later, or...?
I think it's Jason and Zach.
Okay, that probably makes it's more likely. Yeah. Yeah, so they're going to go scoop. We don't really see besides like of a long shot of some people in the water, I don't really see them doing any scuba diving.
Because that would have cost money.
Yes.
And by the amount of times they said, that was great and that was amazing.
Had a lot of
I
fun.
really wish that I saw some of that.
Yeah, I wish we saw the fun stuff.
I mean, they were just at the beach.
Yeah.
Like, we don't see them go far out. They're certainly not on, like, a boat or anything.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they could have seen. But are there many fish just at a beach?
Probably. We'll need to speak to an expert.
Yep.
Join us next week for Mighty Morphin Scuba Danger. Once we're prepared and
Yeah, we'll know
our stuff.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so Billy and Kimberly are going on a picnic.
Yes.
Which is sweet.
It is sweet.
So it seems like she's still wearing her nightie. So.
Is that thing a nightie or a moo or?
I don't know.
Definitely a combo frock between a nightie and a moo.
And then she's got like a knitted something over the top.
Yeah, she's really worried about messing up her hair and doesn't want to go scuba diving, but then she forgot to get dressed. So she kind of did it from the head up.
Well, here's the thing though. That's how she looks basically all the time.
Well, she goes between that and like skin tight gymnastics gear. So
That's
it's a pretty extreme sort of range that she has.
Kimberly brought fish and chips.
Yes.
She already knew he didn't like fish. It was already established. I think it was a cruel joke.
Yep, she's just a
She
horrible
actually
person.
surprised.
But her idea of fish and chips seems to be a fish sandwich and chips. Now, maybe it's just our Australian differences in culture.
I'm pretty sure if you say fish and chips, I mean, I'll be honest, the idea of a fish sandwich doesn't sound particularly appealing.
No.
But
I don't know. So Rita decides that because like the Rangers are going diving and Billy doesn't like fish, it's fish theme week, so she's gonna send a fish monster.
Rita's paying attention to what's going on in the episode and everyone's specific fears, and
More so than Kimberly paying attention to him not liking fish.
she's adapting accordingly. That's good. It's better than Billy's afraid of fish. I'll send down a pollution unicorn monster.
Yeah, that happened.
Oh, the polludicorn. So
I wish I saw that.
Billy shares a childhood memory.
Yes.
Uh,
You seem excited by this prospect.
Look, the idea of a flashback.
Yeah, that's
a proper flashback with the screen goes wavy and we get harpsichord music. It's a real flashback.
That's a big narrative device for them to use. Like, it's a step up in their storytelling structure.
You mean like beyond Billy saying, I got bitten by a fish
Yes,
once?
absolutely.
Yeah. So we get to see child Billy, who's
Yeah.
like 6 or 7 or something.
Still wears the same clothes.
Yeah, well, yeah, how otherwise you wouldn't know.
Yeah.
And so he was at what looks to be
The
the
exact
same park, possibly the same rock that he is sitting on.
Yep.
He wanted to test something he learned about whirlpools, because he's a dork.
Yes.
He made a little whirlpool. A fish bit him on the finger, and he's been afraid of fish for the decade since.
And not like it nibbled his finger a bit. He pulled his whole hand out and was waving it in the air as the fish was attached to it.
It was pretty great.
It was great.
Kimberly just laughs because she is a horrible person.
And
We've
insensitive
established
bitch.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, Billy's afraid of fish, so I'm going to bring fish sandwiches on our picnic. And then when he tells me why he's afraid of fish, I'm just going to laugh at him.
He's not going to find that very funny.
And he calls her on it, to be fair. She says, hey, that's not funny. You're a bad person.
To which her response is basically, pretty funny.
Yeah.
Bulk and Skull.
Oh, yeah, but get one Bulk and Skull. We get like 4 different Bulk and Skull idiot scenes in this episode.
Yep. And none of them are funny.
No. And this particular one was the point where... Because they go to cast some lines into the river
Yep.
and get their hooks caught on the back of their pants.
Yep.
On the, like, back fling. And I believe you said if they pull their own pants off, you're quitting the podcast.
Yep. Because
Don't worry, guys. It's okay.
there
That
was
didn't
about
happen.
a 50-50 shot of that happening.
Yeah.
And instead what happened is they somehow managed to throw themselves into the river.
Yes. Defying physics.
I mean...
The wedgies they were giving themselves was not enough to stop them.
It doesn't make any sense. It's just dumb. Everything about them is dumb. I got nothing.
But you have to quit the show, so we're all good.
Not this week.
Not this week.
Oh, gosh. Look, some putties come down.
Yeah, Rita says, we'll send a squad of Putties to overwhelm them, despite the fact that Putties had never overwhelmed anyone.
Well, but here's the thing. They nearly overwhelm them.
Yeah, well...
Kind of.
They do until Billy figures out the weakness of the Putties, which is getting esky on their heads.
And he also figured out that it's much quicker to backflip 3 times to the esky than to just run over there.
Run at it.
That's science. It's quicker
Definitely
to backflip
the quickest
anywhere.
form of transportation.
If I could backflip just all the time.
Yeah.
You'll be backing for our 200th episode.
I'm not going to do a backflip.
You promised on the show that you would backflip for the 200th
I
episode
think
of the show.
you promised on the show that I would do
Probably.
a backflip.
Yeah. Look, either way, someone promised.
But I like that he made such a discovery at that moment that I've got the answer! And it's definitely an esky on the head.
So here's what happens, right? There's like 7 Putties.
Yeah.
And Billy and Kimberly fight them.
Yeah.
And despite the fact that they seem to be doing fairly well, they are overwhelmed. They cannot deal with it. So they try to call reinforcements, but those other 3 shitheads are all scuba diving, so they can't be gotten to. So what are they going to do? Well, Billy flips over, he grabs the esky, he puts it on one's head, takes that one down, and that's enough leverage to just beat them all.
Yeah.
So if there had been one less, there'd have been no problem.
That's right. It's that 7th Putty.
Yeah.
And unless you have an esky, you're fucked.
Imagine if she sent down an 8th one, and they just still have been fucked.
See, to me, I was like, oh, maybe they left their morphers over by the picnic basket or whatever. He's going to get those.
No.
That would make sense.
I thought that he was going to, like, force feed it a fish sandwich and that was going to destroy all of them or something.
That would destroy anyone.
That would have been less dumb than what actually happened. Billy's effectiveness in fights varies between completely useless and perfectly competent, depending on how many other people are there to help.
Yeah,
like
just seems to vary day by day.
Last week, it was Billy and everybody, and Billy couldn't do shit. This week, there's 2 people, and Billy is equally competent as everyone else.
Yes.
It just... I mean, I know...
It can turn an esky into a deadly weapon.
I wish we could just pretend consistency.
Yeah.
We could just have decided at some point that he was good or shit at fighting.
But no.
Because it's not just this week with the ratio of fish to Billy.
No. So, Rita has sent down goofish.
Yeah, goofish. It's not even like a clever pun. It's a fish that shoots goo.
It's not like a catfish, which is a catfish monster. There's plenty of fish that have something else in their name that they could have been a 2-thing monster.
Yes.
Yeah.
But no, this is just a fish that shoots goo.
Projectile vomits goo.
And briefly has a laser eye.
Why didn't you bring that out earlier?
So Goofish has got one eye, a horrifying mouth.
Yes.
Like one horn.
He's got a horrifying mouth on the side.
Yeah.
Does he have 2 horrifying
an additional mouth on the side, yeah.
And a horn on the other side.
It's a pretty gross, scary-looking monster.
Yeah.
It's not really backed up by his abilities. He's just kind of a pretty standard...
Here's what he can do. He can shoot goo from his mouth, and that paralyzes things.
When you say paralyze, you mean it gets stuff on your feet and you can't move.
Well,
like it glues you to the ground.
Yeah, more or less.
You can still wave your arms around.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, otherwise we wouldn't know who was talking.
Like, I don't know why they couldn't have just reached for their blade blasters and shot him, but whatever.
Because that would have been sensible.
Yes.
So look, the goo looks like just like a stream of blue liquid.
Yes. About
as much force behind it as like a super soaker. It's not particularly threatening.
No, it's not like a fire hose.
No.
It's a water pistol.
And he kind of just shoots it out while he just like shimmies.
Well, it's part of it. You gotta have the
the shimmy to project the goo.
That's right.
This is not sounding.
That's definitely going in the episode description. Okay, so he appears.
Yep.
And he's terrifying. So just to take out some of the terror, we just cut to 30 seconds of a serene shot of 2 people scuba diving.
Which is definitely stock footage. Like, it's not the Power Rangers. They didn't, like, spend money on an underwater camera. They just paid 50 cents to buy some stock footage. This show, man. This is about the point where they're doing okay at the fight. So Rita's like, it's only 2 Rangers and he's losing. It's a bit of a shit monster, what I'm going to do. And Goldarr suggests, why don't you cast a spell and make Billy afraid of fish? Now, it's been, what, twice that Rita's shown magical abilities?
2 or 3.
Two or three times. I don't understand why she doesn't do magic things more often.
Like, say, cast a spell to make everyone afraid of fish.
Yes.
And then none of them can move and he just kills them.
Yes.
Yeah, that would have been a good plan.
Yes.
That's not what she does.
Maybe, 40 weeks ago, made them afraid of being Power Rangers or something.
Made them afraid of a weird blue head in a tube. Job
Yeah.
done. Yeah. No.
No, that's not what happens.
No.
Instead, Billy gets made afraid of fish.
And starts overacting.
Yeah, starts grabbing his helmet. Michael's showing us now what's happening. Unfortunately, not a video podcast.
Sorry.
Yeah, and so they're losing, basically, because Billy can't get shit together.
Yep.
And
So
Kimberly by herself, not terribly effective.
So luckily the other Power Rangers come out of the ocean at that point
Yes.
and say, man, it was so clear down there. Totally.
Yeah.
It was so great down there. I wish you guys at home could have seen it.
I wish we could have afforded $12 more to show you at least a fish.
But no.
No.
And at this point, Zordon goes, hey guys, we need to get you over there because Billy is freaking out.
There should just be a rule that they're not allowed to have pastimes
Yes.
where they're out of reach.
Yes.
And is it obviously the water didn't affect it, so it's just that they don't have reception in the water.
They couldn't hear it properly.
Yeah. The morphers were under their wetsuits, so they couldn't. It's just, too difficult.
Well, you can't say it's morphin time when you're underwater. Exactly.
No, it doesn't work.
You try and do that, morphin doesn't work. It can't hear you properly.
And then the helmet fills up with water and you drown on dry land. It's terrible. It's horrifying. Have you ever seen it? It's just like it's awful.
That's what happened to the last team of Power Rangers.
They all tried to morph underwater. It's awful. So basically the other Power Rangers jump in.
Yeah.
Jason gets one good hit in with his sword.
Yep.
The Goofish just jumps into the ocean.
It's like letters.
It's like, I'm not fighting 5 of them at once. That's too much for me. We go back to the command center.
Yep.
Where Zach says that was one of Rita's worst monsters ever. Which is just untrue.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just patently untrue.
Yeah.
One person hit it and
ran
ran away.
It's not like it bit anyone's hand or
No, it
anything.
didn't do anything.
Didn't get stuck on their fingers. Oh dear.
So,
They go and fight it again, I guess. I don't understand.
yeah, I mean, he looks like he's in exactly the same place.
Yeah.
But I think that's because there's one beach.
In Intergrove.
Well, in Japan where they shot it.
Yeah.
So he goos up like 3 of them.
Yeah.
Jason, Zach, and Trini. And then he throws a fish at Kimberly.
He had some
Some
pretty badass starfish fighting stars, is what went.
which explode.
Yeah. Those are pretty cool, actually. He throws some starfishes at them that attach them and explode. That's cool. It doesn't make much sense, but whatever.
And then they all kind of fell down, and then he just threw a fish for good measure.
I think more as like insult to injury sort of thing.
Yeah.
Just, like, slap him in the face with a fish. Take that.
This one has no special powers to throw it in your face.
So what Zordon had told Billy before is that Billy needed to face his fear.
Yeah.
And then, because the spell was amplifying his fear of fish, if he was no longer afraid of fish, the spell wouldn't work. And he'd just be able to beat the shit out of a giant fish monster.
Yep.
Which makes a reasonable enough amount of logical sense.
It's certainly one of the more logically consistent explanations we've got in the show. So I'll take it.
So, I don't think that fears work by you just kind of decide to not be afraid anymore.
No, but I could buy that he sort of wills himself to do it, like pushes through.
But I sort of feel like the overarching message is trying to get people to face their fears, but by slaughtering them, by killing the fish.
The problem is that this show has a limited repertoire of things it can do to solve problems.
Yeah.
And most of them are stabbing, shooting, or exploding. So, it's like, if it was about racism, they do it by exploding a racist monster. Right? Yeah. There's not a lot of options as far as like technicalities go. So Billy basically just jumps over the goofish.
Yeah.
About 50 times.
The goofish shoots his goose straight up, becomes back down on his own face, which paralyzes him.
Yeah, don't do that at home, kids. It's bad.
Don't shoot your own goo at your face, guys. I mean, that's just...
It will paralyze you.
Do you need a minute, Matt?
I'm fine, I'm good.
So, that's bad. And then somehow the other Rangers are unparalysed. I guess because only one person can be paralysed at a time? Something?
Science.
So they're about to just kill the shit out of the fish.
Yep.
So Rita makes it grow.
Yep.
They summon the dinosaurs, which Rita looks confused by. Like,
Yeah.
there's a shot of her going, huh? Which is weird, because this is about the 40th time that she's seen them.
Yeah,
She's
this happens
used to
It
most
happens
weeks.
most episodes,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's been maybe 1 or 2 that it hasn't.
I'd say 2 or 3. But
So
yeah.
it's weird for her to be not sure what's going on.
And weird for her to not just send the giant fish in the first place.
Oh no, you can't do that. That would be cheating.
Not only that, she mentions that the plan was to attract the Megazord to immobilize it earlier in the episode. So not only should she not be surprised, this was part of her plan.
That's how bad at her job she is. She wrote down, she made a plan, started executing the plan, forgot the plan.
Left the list
Yeah.
somewhere.
Well, you know, it's down in the cellar or something.
Yeah.
It's in Goldarr's dungeon. So there's a new giant fight set because
Yeah.
we're finally in our Zayu 2 footage. It's got some little trees. It's kind of, I really like. I
It
really
looks
like
nice.
it. Yeah. It's nice to see them fighting a giant monster somewhere different.
Yep.
Other than your standard quarry. Goofish gets out a laser eye of his.
Yeah, he's been holding that one back.
He uses it once. It's pretty effective.
Yeah, to be fair.
So he goos up the Megazord.
Yep.
It falls over. It's fucked, basically. There's they can't move. There's nothing they can do.
Except there is.
Well, yeah, okay. So here's what Zach says.
First of all, this is what Zach says, despite the fact that clearly what they've been trying to do is give Billy an episode, right?
And also Billy is the
To
technical
sides
one.
guy.
Yeah.
Exactly. This is his episode. This is his time to shine. This is his focus episode.
Which is why Zach solves the final problem.
Yeah,
Yep.
with science.
Well,
Billy must
I
be
mean,
there like, hey,
Matt,
hang
when
on.
you say with science,
Yeah.
here's the plan. Let's mumble, turn the goo into energy. Science. I mean, look, I'll be honest, I missed half the line, but there's no way that half the line explained how they were going to turn the goo into energy.
Well, Michael, everything is derived from energy. So if you break it down to its base components, put that into the batteries.
You're not a scientist, are you? Everything is energy, so you cause a nuclear reaction, and then science.
Exactly.
They're solar powered. We know that for a fact.
That's true. Solar and goo.
Just 10 more minutes to come up with a solution, guys.
Yeah.
So they convert the goo into energy. They stand back up, which
Yep.
looks suspiciously like falling over played in reverse.
Yeah, they do that. They're pretty snappy at jumping back up on a same angle.
And then they basically just get their sword and make it explode.
As you do.
I will note, when they do the sword action,
Yeah.
it goes in a direction.
Mm-hmm.
When we then see the reverse shot of the fish,
Yeah.
the crackling line of energy goes in the same direction on the screen.
Oh, okay. So it should be reversed.
It should be reversed, but it isn't reversed.
Yeah.
I blame the Japanese for that,
Yeah.
because that's
It's weird for something to be on them.
yeah. We blame the American writers a lot, but this is clearly a Japanese footage problem.
Yeah.
So guys, just get a little better. It's not enough that you're already the only good part of this show. Just be good at everything. So fish monster gets destroyed.
Yep.
There goes the goofish.
Buggy fish.
I hope we never see him again.
Yeah. And then we're back in the juice bar,
Yep.
where we discover that not only has Billy overcome his fears,
Yep.
he's sort of kicked into overdrive a bit and now hunts them for sport.
Yeah. So here's what happened. Yesterday, Billy was afraid of fish.
Yeah.
Today, now that he is no longer afraid of fish, he spent the day hunting,
Yes.
right? Just just killing fish.
Yes.
Just as many as he can.
He's now got a pathological need to destroy the lives of fish.
I mean, who doesn't, am I right?
Best way to overcome your fears.
Yep. Just kill them.
Yeah.
You're afraid of spiders? Just find a dozen spiders and just kill them in quick succession. That's aversion therapy.
I don't think that's what that is, but okay.
So, yeah, Ernie's going to cook the fish for them.
Yeah, because Ernie's a fisherman. Because of course
Ernie's a fisherman. That's the least surprising thing about this show.
He's got fisherman written all over his face, you know? Of course, his idea of sport is sitting in a boat for a day.
Jesus Christ.
Look, I'm just saying, he's that sort of guy.
Okay, so Bulk and Skull come up.
Yes.
Again.
Yes. Again, we get 4 different stupid Bulk and Skull moments this episode.
Yep.
So.
So Bulk says, yeah, I caught the biggest fish. And Skull pulls it out of the sack. It's a giant tin of tuna fish.
Yes.
Because he told Skull to get some fish for his lie and then didn't bother checking that Skull had gotten the correct fish for his lie. And Skull is so stupid that he didn't understand what was going on.
Yeah.
It was a really big can of tuna.
It was a lot of fish.
Yeah, to
He
Skull's
got
credit.
the big fish part right.
He's probably spent a bit of money on that, you know? It was a big financial commitment.
Did look like black and gold brand though.
That's true.
Yeah, he didn't get the
The
John
good-
West. No.
Yeah.
He didn't get the good stuff.
There's definitely some dolphin in there.
Look, so Bulk goes into Billy's bag to see what kind of fish Billy got. It's a lobster. Bites Bulk on the nose.
Which seems to slightly defeat the purpose of that end scene, which is to show that Billy's overcoming his fear.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Now, instead of catching fish, he's catching lobsters.
lobsters are like fish, but with claws.
And I think probably more inclined to bite you or like hurt
That's
you
why.
than
It's like
regular
he
fish.
stepped it up.
Yeah.
Next
It's
to
like,
hunting
I've
sharks.
killed all the fish. I've moved on to
Yeah,
lobster.
the next step is hunting a giant white whale with just a harpoon.
Harpoon, yeah.
Just on a boat on his own, no shirt, with a harpoon.
I would watch that.
If there's any of you out there who can draw, please send that to rangerandangelpodcast@gmail.com.
Just to be clear, we want Billy riding a small, non-powered boat, it's
Yep.
like a paddle boat, with a big, old-fashioned harpoon in his hand, completely shirtless, spearing an animal.
Yep.
Cool.
I don't think that's an unreasonable request. Alright, look, that's the end of this one.
That is. Now, to continue our tradition, we're going to add Goofish to our ongoing list of monsters. Now, we don't have a name on the list because when we asked you all for names, that episode hasn't aired yet for us.
Yeah,
in this
having
time.
a buffer is weird.
Yeah. So don't feel bad if we haven't used your name yet. It's because we haven't received it because of the linear nature of time. Woo, time. All right, so we've got our list of all the monsters thus far. Where do you think Goofish goes on the list, Michael?
Visually, he's terrifying.
Yes.
But, he's not particularly strong or effective.
Yes.
Um,
Now, I think he's more interesting than, say, like Samurai Fan Man or the Mighty Minotaur, because he's visually interesting and has some cool gimmicks.
yeah, okay, that's fair.
But I don't think he's as cool as, like, Mutitus
No, he's definitely not as cool as Mutitus.
or Hatchosaurus and his heart robot Cardiotron.
No, that's true. So is he cooler than Pinoctopus?
I think so. What do you think?
Yeah,
Yeah?
that's about where I'd put him.
Okay, so above Pinoctopus, below Rockstar?
Yeah, our previous ocean villain.
Yes.
Alright, so we're going to put him in, and that puts him at number 24.
24, so he'll be on number 24. If you want to see the whole list, you can check out our list of monsters.
Yeah, that'll be up by the time they hear this, I hope.
Yes, on the Ranger Angel website.
It'll be rangerangelpodcast.com/monsters, something like that.
We're committed to that now. You said it, so that has to be it.
There you go. Done.
Cool. Alright.
Alright. Jen, did you want to remind people where they could find your puzzle ball?
Oh, sure. So you can check out the campaign and a dorky video of me at www.pozi.be/KALEIDO.
And again, there will be a link in the show notes for you.
Awesome. Do you have any final
And
thoughts?
sorry, by the time you hear this, that'll be in its last couple of days. So you'd better hurry.
So
if you
get
want to
on
in.
it.
Yep. Yeah, Jen, any other thoughts?
No, I think that's about it. My favourite part was definitely the starfish fighting stars, and that's exclamation points on my notes. So.
Yeah, that's a fair high point.
All right.
How do you think this compares to going back, if you think you were to go back and say watch Alex Mack? Do you think that you'd enjoy that more?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, this did have a big lack of white/green Power Ranger.
Yeah, that's a fair
so
criticism.
maybe
when
if I was
he comes
comparing it
back,
with that,
we'll
but
definitely get you back so you can see some of that.
definitely, please do.
We should watch Alex Mack.
We should.
I know. Can you start an Alex Mack podcast as well? Because I'm down.
I feel like that should be next on the list of things to get revived. Probably by Michael Bay. Once Transformers burns itself out,
There were
it'll be
only
Michael's...
I'm pretty sure there were only 2 seasons and it ended on a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Um,
But it was amazing. And everyone our age
I don't know
knows
that it was amazing.
it was so good.
It was probably my favourite thing.
I mean, look, it was pretty good. I'll give you all that, right? But I don't know that it was amazing.
I'm just saying, a couple of years, Megan Fox will be starring as Alex Mack. It'll ruin our childhoods, and then we'll all be depressed forever. That's my prediction.
Well, that's a positive note to leave it on. So we'll be back next week with episode 44.
Yes.
Lions and Blizzards.
Yes.
Which, I don't know if that's a pun.
I don't think lions and lizards is a thing, so I don't understand why that would be fun.
Wizards?
Lions and... maybe.
That's not a... No, that's not really a thing.
Are there wizards in Narnia?
I don't think so. I think
I like how
just
I acknowledged
a
it like
witch.
that made sense and then just went,
Yeah.
no, it
Oh,
doesn't.
yeah, Lions and Wizards. Yeah, of course. You know, that classic book. The Lion and the Wizard.
That role-playing game. It's like the child's version of Dungeons and Dragons, you know? You know what Dungeons... That sounds scary.
Dungeons and Dragons are huge.
They
and
are
terrifying.
huge. So, lions and wizards, that's the fun one, the friendly one. Less dragons, more Jesus. It's the Christian...
That's our podcast motto. Less dragons, more Jesus. Only on Ranger Danger. All right. Thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Jen.
No worries.
And we'll see you guys next week.